Hi everyone and welcome to a new Cisco video. The topic of today will be VLAN. And what will VLAN do? Well, it will create us a virtual LAN network. So we're going to create a VLAN for the computers at the top and for the computers at the bottom. So what it will do, the computers at the top can communicate with each other, but they cannot communicate with the computers at the bottom. So this computer can only communicate with this computer and not with the one at the bottom. So yeah, that is what VLAN will do for us. The IP addresses are as followed. This will be the 120.168.0.2, 3, subnet 255.255.0.0, and here it will be 198.168.1.2, 1.3, also 255.255.0.0. They have to be at the same subnet in order to communicate with each other. So if you take, for example, this 255.255.0.0 and this 3 times 255 and then a 0, they will not communicate with each other. So be careful with that. So make sure they are at the same subnet. So let's get started. Let's go to our first switch. We're going to enable mode and config T mode. We're going to say VLAN number 10. You cannot start with VLAN 1 because that is a default VLAN, so we're going to say 10 is our first VLAN. VLAN 10, we're going to give it a name, Nostromo, and that's it. Then we're going to VLAN number 20 for a second, also give it a name, Solenko, then exit. Then what you can do now to check, you can do show VLAN brief, and as you can see, the two VLANs are now in the database, so Nostromo and Solenko. What we're going to do now is we're going to configure our interfaces. So we're going back to config T, int fa0/1, and then it will be switch port access VLAN number 10, and that's it. So our fa0/1 is now in VLAN number 10. I'm going to do the same for int fa0/2. Also switch port access VLAN number 20. Exit, and we're done here. So now we can set up the VTP domain and VT mode server. So going back to enable VTP, so VTP show VTP status to let us see that the VTP domain is not filled in. So we can change that. So config T VTP domain LV426. It's changed, and we have to say it's going to be VTP mode server. So if it's not in server mode, we have to, so it means that's in client mode, so we're going to have to change it to server mode. But as it's going to say, it's already in server mode. So exit, and then we can do show VTP status. It was, you can now see the domain is changed to LV426 and the operation mode is server. Then we have to configure our trunk line, that's this line between the two switches. So config mode T int fa0/24, switchboard mode trunk, and it's changed to trunk mode. So exit, exit, and now we can do show interfaces trunk. You see FA mode on trunking, and that's done. Now we can go to our second switch, command line, and what we can do now is take show enable show interfaces trunk. It already knows that the FA24 is a trunk line, so that it already knows. Then we can do show VTP status. Oh, it already knows the domain name, so LV426. The operation mode is in server. Okay. Then we can do show VLAN brief to check if it already knows our VLANs. And as you can see, it doesn't know yet our VLAN number 10 and 20. To enable this, we're going to config mode T, and we're going to change the VTP mode to client. So if you change it to client, it will receive the databases from this switch with all the VLANs in it. So we're going to exit and go now show VLAN brief, and as you can see, it already knows the Nostromo and the CISCO. So great. But oh, you have to know that if it's still in client mode, everything is loaded into the RAM of the switch. So when it's turned off and on again, it doesn't know the database, and it could take some time before it knows again your VLANs. So there's a trick to ensure that it is saved in that your databases are saved. So we're going back to the config mode, and we're going to simply change the VTP mode again to server. So now it's set on server and all the databases are saved. As you can see, going to exit and then show VLAN brief, they are still there. So now we already have to configure our interfaces. So T and then int fa0/1 switchboard access VLAN 10 and int fa0/2 switchboard access VLAN 20, and then we are done. What you can also do now is show VLAN brief, and you can see they are configured to FA10. The Nostromo is configured to FA01 and the CISCO is configured to FA02, and that means it's done. So we take our computer and go to the command prompt. So now we can ping to this computer if everything is correct. You see, we're getting a prime. So can we ping to, say, number 3? Request timeout. So our VLANs are configured, so this computer can only communicate with the computers in the same VLAN. So those on the top can only communicate with each other, and those at the bottom can only communicate with each other. getting a reply, and say it's not getting a reply because it's not in the same VLAN. And there you have it. Let's see. Oh. And that's it, guys. That is how you set up a VLAN. And that's it. So see you in the next tutorial.